Greetings, YouTube. The Doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons & Dragons. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or comment. All right? It's time for another installment of the Doctor Spell Prognosis, and today we are talking about the second level spell, Find a Steed. And this spell is usable only by Paladins. I actually give this spell a B+, even though it is only usable by Paladins. But if you are a Paladin, you should be taking the spell. Because it does empower you quite a bit to perform mounted combat. But, without it, you're really going to be hard-pressed to do mounted combat. So, second level spell costs 10 minutes to cast. It's not a ritual spell. A concentration spell. It's not a ritual spell, but it's not a concentration spell either. And it really has no duration. It says duration instantaneous, but it instantaneously happens after 10 minutes. But then the mount has a bunch of things that trigger it to disappear if they happen. So it's essentially permanent. There's a range of 30 feet. That's kind of not here or there important. It's only verbal and somatic. So you summon a spirit that assumes the form of an unusually intelligent, strong, and loyal steed. So you can bring forth a warhorse, pony, camel, elk, or mastiff. Some of these are medium-sized and some of these are large-sized. So you would, want to bring one forward or another if you were like a small creature, like a gnome or a halfling. But if you were a medium creature like an elf or a human, then you would want to bring forth one of the larger creatures. So the warhorse, the camel, and the elk are all large. The pony and the mastiff are all medium-sized. If the steed has an intelligence less than 5, it becomes a 6, and it can speak one language of your choice. It serves as your mount, and you have a bond to it. While mounted on your steed, you can make any spell you cast that targets only you also target your steed. So there's quite a few of those, like aid, things like that. So you would get hit points and your steed would get hit points. So here's the deal with it disappearing. If it goes to 0 hit points, it's gone. You can dismiss it as an action, gone. You can cast it again, and your steed comes back with full hit points, which is great. While it's within a mile of you, you can telepathically communicate with it. So you could summon it. You could go put your finger up to your forehead and say, "Steed, come to me," and it'll come. You can't have more than one. So once you summon one, you can't summon another one. And if you do summon another one, it'll replace it. And then you can release the steed as an action, and it'll disappear. So being whacked to 0 makes it disappear. And then you can release it anytime you want. Now, one of the things I do want to point out with this are some of the rules involved with mounted combat and why mounted combat is a good thing in 5.0. So you can use half your speed to mount a steed. And so it gives an example, if you're 30 feet, then you have to use 15 feet of movement. And then if an effect moves your mount against its will while you're on it, you must succeed on a DC 10 dexterity saving throw or fall off the mount landing prone in a space within 5 feet. If you're knocked prone while mounted, you must make the same saving throw. So if you get knocked prone. But that isn't to say you can't be pushed off the mount. You can be targeted with a spell that will push you while you're on the mount. The mount is knocked prone. You can use a reaction to dismount as it falls. Otherwise, you are dismounted and fall prone. Okay, so those are two important things. Now, while you're on your mount, you have two options. You can either control it or allow it to act independently. If you're controlling it, it gets a move and an action, and the only action you can take are dash, disengage, and dodge. Now, these mounts, or if it's intelligent, then it can act independently and it uses its own initiative. If it's being controlled, then it uses your initiative. Now, what are some of the movements of these? So, for instance, the warhorse has a speed of 60 feet. That thing can move and dash for 120 feet, which is massive. It's only got 19 hit points. You could get some barding for it and increase its armor class above 11. It's got this trampling charge, but you're probably not going to be attacking with it. You're probably going to be using specific weapons, such as reach weapons. So let's look at those weapons. So a lance, which is right here, does 1d12 piercing damage, and it has reach, and it is special. So let's look at the lance here. You have disadvantage when you use a lance to attack a target within 5 feet of you. Also, a lance requires 2 hands to wield while you aren't mounted. So that's kind of the special. When you are not mounted, but when you're mounted, you only need to use 1 hand, which means you can have a shield, and it does a d12. And you have reach. Now you can use. I mean, you could basically use any weapon that you want while you're mounted. I mean, the big thing about being mounted is the speed that you add. You know, if you're the paladin, you're probably going to have a speed of around 30 feet, maybe less than that. And these mounts add a massive, massive movement bonus to you. And that's where this B+ rating comes in. So we've got the pony, which is 40. We've got the camel, which is 50. We've got the elk, which is 50. And we've got the mastiff, which is 40. And so, you know, it just adds a tremendous speed requirement that allows the paladin to move quickly up to a foe. If you've got a lance, you're going to do a d12 damage, and you have a shield, and it allows you to do a lot of damage that way. In addition, your mount can disengage and then can move back. Now let's look at that, because there's some rules about that in mounted combat here. So in either case, if the mount provokes an attack of opportunity while you're on it, the attacker can target you or the mount. So it is not you that is provoking, it's the mount. But if the mount takes the disengage action, it can move. So you can charge up, hit something with the lance, and then you can have the mount disengage and then move back and move forward again and keep that up. So it's pretty cool. So I like this spell a lot. There is an improved version of this spell where it does have more mounts to choose from. I think it's a higher level spell, but we'll go over that when we get there. All right, that's what I got for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.